Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new segment on our channel called PropTech Showcase Disrupt. In this segment, we pick exciting new products that are disrupting the real estate industry. Today, we have one such product called Jumpree by Smarten Spaces, which is a global leading next gen workspace platform, which leverages the power of AI and analytics and helps with employee engagement and workplace efficiency. Next week, PropTech Buzz platform will introduce categories, and work tech will be a prominent category, and you will be able to find Jumpree in that category. Talking about category, Smarten Spaces is soon emerging to be a category leader in this work tech. And in fact, when I was in London last week, I heard some vendors already mention your name, Smarten Spaces name. The company is led by an industry veteran, Dinesh Malkani, who is there with me today. And Dinesh is going to talk a bit about this sector, work tech. So, Dinesh, why don't you talk a bit about, before we get into the meatier stuff, talking about your product, why don't you tell us a bit about work tech and how this space is evolving very fast in the industry?
Thanks, Ravi. Good morning. And look, at the end of the day, this is one of the most exciting sectors, right? Because as you know, so much has changed over the last 3 to 4 years. And people shifted from a fixed world to a flexible world much faster than it was anticipated, right? And so a tremendous amount of work has gone into policy definition, into the HR teams getting really busy on what the future of work is going to look like. But while all that is happening, right, technology, as you know, has to evolve too. And one of the areas has been to think about, okay, so what does the employee experience look like in a hybrid world? So we all talk about hybrid, but we also have to appreciate that an employee goes through a lot, right? They have to make a lot of changes. And I think all for the good, right? But you need to think about the fact that as how do they plan their days back in office, right? Which days are they working from home? Which days are in the office? They have to think about when they're in the office, right? Are their colleagues there, and who they're used to working with? How much time can they get with their manager? Are there learning opportunities, right? And so on and so forth. So the employee experience has been a huge part of the change that has happened. I think technology has a huge role to play, right? Which comes under the category of work tech. The second thing I think, which is very important, is that if you really look at spaces, there are companies that have 5 floors, and you go up to the third, fourth, and fifth, and they're empty, right? And so there is a need to optimize. There's a need to rethink on what kind of spaces you have. When I go to the office, it's to meet. I like to collaborate. I meet with my team. We brainstorm. We get on a whiteboard and start to evangelize and think of, things that we need as a company to grow. And so I think the mix of what spaces are is also changing. And hence there's a need to rethink what the layout of the space is and how efficient it is. Putting all this together are some of the challenges that happen in this new area, which is being covered under prop tech, work tech, whatever you may call it, but they're all related to the workplace technology segment.
Got it, Dinesh. Why don't we jump into what Jumpree has to offer and the kind of impact Jumpree is offering to this space, work tech?
Okay, awesome. So look, at the end of the day, we looked at the problem statement many years ago, and we said that we got to build a platform so that it eventually becomes easy for the user, right? At the end of the day, it's got to be simple. It's got to be easy to deploy. It's got to be easy to use. It's got to be easy to, and it has to deliver an ROI, right? So we built this next gen workplace platform. What I'll do, if it's okay, I'll just share a few slides, just to kind of keep the conversation a little structured, if that's fine, Ravi.
Sure.
All right. So look, today, if I look at the industry trend, right, we call it progressives. I mean, there are a lot of analysts that call it progressive space management. And I really like that word, right? Because you're progressively managing out the spaces that are there. And if you look on the left, right, one of the key things, like I talked about, is space optimization, right? That is one of the key goals. You need to take a data-driven approach. You need to think of, okay, if I'm optimizing my space, What is my footfall? How many people are coming in? What kind of spaces get utilized? So we need to think of a data driven approach when we start to make decisions, right? The other is really around the need for delivering a great employee experience. And last but not the least, we all know that we need to have smarter buildings, right? Visitors are coming in. We need to think about security. We need to think about energy consumption, et cetera, et cetera. So these are typically the imperatives. And what our goal, our vision of Jumpree, my Smarten Spaces, is that we have been partnering with the leading organizations. We learn a lot from them. This is global, so we're now in about 100 cities around the world. And the idea is to deliver that delightful workplace experience and make their spaces more productive, right? And why we call this the next gen platform? There are a lot of point solutions out there, Ravi, that do some do desk booking, some do visitor management, some do space management, some do analytics. They aggregate IoT data and present out analytics. But if you really think of it, right, that's like a spaghetti. It always reminds me of spaghetti, right? You just throw everything in, you put some tomato sauce, you mix it all up, you grate some cheese on it, and you hope like hell that it's going to work, right? We took a very different approach. We said that we've been in this business for a while, we have great experience. um, and so we said we're going to build a full stack, right? We're going to make sure that all the elements needed for you to be able to not just deliver the right experience but also optimize your spaces all on one single stack. It becomes much easier to deploy, consumes much less time. All the dots are connected. I'm getting data from all the sources as opposed to bits and pieces from here and there and trying to kind of band-aid it up together, right? So what we've done is we've got a complete booking platform, whether it's meeting rooms. Typically today what happens is people book rooms and they don't show up, right? That's a large percentage of what happens, right? And so the ability to manage those rooms properly. I may book rooms and it may be a wrong room. I may be in a room and I really feel it's too cold in that room, right? So we think of the whole booking experience. Or maybe it's a desk and I'm coming in and I need to be sitting next to my colleague, or I am in a neighborhood, right? So we have that one single booking platform, right? The other thing is, with booking and with data that's coming in, we've got the full space management stack where we've got the ability to help companies understand how utilized or underutilized are their spaces and what are the things that they could do, right? And so the whole AI engine kind of makes recommendations to them, right? But this really helps them save a lot of space, right? Then in terms of space analytics, like in terms of reporting, companies want to drill down into a lot of detail, right? And so that one engine that captures it all in terms of the space analytics. We've plotted right from the time an employee wakes up to what are the key decisions they need to make about how they plan their day out, whether it's at home, whether it's in the office. And so if it's in the office, like what kind of meetings do I want to have, what kind of learning opportunities, all that gets thrown into one single employee workplace experience. And look, we can't do this alone, so we have partnered. We've integrated our software into about 120 systems out there, whether it's sensors, it's Wi-Fi, it is Microsoft Teams or Zoom and things like that, right? So that from an employee perspective or from a data perspective, I do leverage on the power of all these 120 players out there, right? So it's a full stack, like I mentioned, from all the booking pieces that are there to space management, move management. As you know, I'll give you an example, right? I may have 50 new people that are joining in. Well, where do I put them in? Today's world, they got an Excel spreadsheet. They go try to figure it out, right? The system that we've built, right? It will tell you that, look, given your space, this is the best place for you to put these 50 people. Or it'll restack it and say that if you moved a few things around, but it's always trying to, it's like pieces of a puzzle, right? There are different pockets of spaces being used and different people. We try to bring that puzzle basically together, right? That's what our move management and automatic restacking do. And then while I'm in the office, I need something, right? And so raising up requests, or I've got visitors coming in. So we thought of the entire flow of what is needed. We started with on both ends of the spectrum. We used to have a space management platform that was there that we deployed in some of the largest banks, etc. And then we had the employee experience piece. Now we're bringing it together into one single stack. And the beauty is, like I mentioned, right, it's pre-integrated with, I would say, all the industry leaders. I think we've been very fortunate as a platform that most of the leading sensor companies, whether it's WordSense or others, they have integrated into our system. Microsoft Teams, obviously, we're a big partner of Microsoft, and I look at many other such players that are there. So it becomes a full stack, right? And look, this picture for me captures a lot of what we call an all-in-one digital workplace experience, right? Right from the time an employee walks in or a visitor walks in, right? Frictionless entry. The days of badges are kind of gone, right? And so why can't I scan in using my phone? I've got a turnstile, scan, I'm in. I go straight into, let's say I've booked a desk, I want to see who I want to sit next to, because in our experience, and by the way, we do 6 million closed transactions on the platform today. So it's heavily utilized, right? And we look at the data, most people will check, well, which is the area that I want to sit in. And I want to sit next to my colleagues because I want to have a great day at work, right? We're all human beings and we want to interact, we want to socialize. But at the same time, I think that feeling that we are together makes a big, big difference, right? And so making sure that I get the right place. I like to work next to the window. Maybe I just love to be, looking out sometimes and just staring into the sky, right? And so the ability to choose that, the flexibility makes a huge difference, right? And that's what our entire desk and space management does. The second is really around the meeting rooms, like I mentioned, right? And what's the air quality in? You could be sitting inside of a phone booth and it could be hot, the air quality could be really bad. Those kind of rooms we track, shut those down so that you don't, until of course the air quality gets better. So making sure that that we have a view of that makes a huge difference, and then control the BMS if it's related to weather or if it's related to temperature, right? And of course, food choices, right? Well, what is there in the cafeteria to eat today? We integrate with a lot of food companies, that we have worked with, SmartQ and kind of many others, right? To be able to make sure that I kind of get that one view. So with the app that we have called Jumpree, a user is able to navigate through the entire spaces for the entire day. And with we've seen the utilization grow. There were 3 million closed transactions out in December that we saw on the platform. By March, that had grown to about 4.2 million. And then now the latest was end of June, where it's grown up to 6 million. So we can see the utilization really significantly ramping up. Of course, it also has to do with the footfalls and how people are coming in, but they're getting so comfortable. We look at the survey results, they're getting so comfortable to be able to use a solution like that. Now, all this data, by the way, whether it's from how the desk and spaces are being used, or how the rooms are being used, or what is the footfall, what is the cost per square foot. Today, rentals are up in many parts of the world, right? And it's very expensive. And so what does every square foot cost me? And so that the decisions that you make, whether I want to give up space, whether I want to add space, whether I want to move people around, it's all data driven. And it really saves companies tremendous amount of money. Look, in just discussions with our customers, I think an easy 30% is what I believe they have achieved in many cases in terms of space cost saving. And if you just do the math, that's massive, right? So that's what we have been able to build. And like I mentioned, with 6 million transactions that are happening on the platform right now, it's a lot of data that we're getting. So we constantly keep fine tuning the system, and obviously, making sure we've just introduced multiple languages. So whether it's German, it's Spanish, you could be in any part of the world. We have customers literally in almost every city in the world, right? And that is really exciting because it's given us the ability to also test these multiple languages, make sure that it works very seamlessly. It doesn't matter which part of the world, time zone, or language you're in. So I'm going to stop sharing, Ravi, but I just wanted to kind of share that perspective with you, right? In terms of what is it that we actually deliver on the platform. And look, our goal is very simple. If it used to take you many months with many vendors, with many products and system integrators to piece this together, we think we have the stack. We can just move it into your organization, pre-connected to 120 systems, and there you go. Why should life be difficult? Yeah, let's make it easy.
Thank you, Dinesh. It looks quite comprehensive. I think it's a full stack to the very T. Quite exciting stuff, Dinesh. Thank you for sharing and spending time with us. I think my audience and all the people who are looking for work tech solutions are going to enjoy this.
Awesome, Ravi. Thank you very much. Thanks for always being on PropTech Buzz. Thank
See
you.
you around.